What's up, guys? Back again with another weekly analysis on DXY. So last week, yeah, well, currently the symbol that we're looking at is DXY, but I'm going to be actually discussing and mentioning what happened. So last week we saw a bit of a tank with indices, and as well too with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin played out exactly how expected, but we're gonna go through the usual as is. So we're looking at DXY right now. Now as we are seeing it, as mentioned in previous videos, we have broken the support level within the channel. So now when we zoom in, so we're doing a top-down analysis quickly just to actually get a clear view on the overall direction. So as you can see is that we are hovering around a really strong support level, where price has rejected this level once, twice, and I think this was a third candlestick that actually kind of just closed above this level. So now that we are waiting for this candlestick here to kind of like close and break through below this level, we can get an overall direction on price continuously dropping to lower levels, which could be past 96 96.929 and maybe going straight down to 92.522. So gonna zoom in on the weekly. Now that we see it on the weekly, we are seeing that this engulfing candlestick at bearish engulfing candlestick broke below, so we'll retest. So this candlestick, what I'm anticipating is this could possibly be the final candlestick where we see price actually break this level of support, where we have kind of just been ranging within this resistance and support level here, and a price continuation and drop to the downside. When we look at the daily, kind of still same situation. We did see price come through and reject this monthly trend line, which is around here. So if so, we do possibly expect we could maybe just come back to above, yeah, and then continuation and drop down, and then continue lower to exactly as I mentioned before, which is around 95. Yeah, it's actually 95. Yeah, 95.089. So around about there. So that's what I'm going to be expecting for this week. Hopefully we can be able to see everything play out. We see a weaker dollar. I'm just going to zoom in onto daily. I don't think I need to zoom in much more into the smaller time frames because it's kind of clear and obvious in seeing the overall direction and how things are going to play about with DXY. So DXY is still bearish, very bearish on DXY. So we'll just have to kind of just see on how this plays out. And then now let's go to the indices. So starting with Nasdaq. Nasdaq, as I mentioned previously before, that we are going to be dropping. I remember, I think when was this? It was last week. Yeah, this was the last week when I did mention that we are going to be dropping much lower from the level that we are currently. So we did see a bit of a range within this section here. I didn't take this trade because reason being is that it was a little choppy. So I started seeing price actually move, this is being choppy as is. And based on kind of like this move here, I wasn't necessarily sure if price was actually going to actually break through and create higher highs. But I think I was actually much more certain that was going to drop, but I'll zoom out onto the monthly time frame. So reason being that I did anticipate it. I did anticipate this drop was because I did mention that this was going to be our support level where we're going to come back and retest and reject the zone range. So we haven't completely done that with this monthly candlestick here. So as you can see, there's a lot of kind of indecisive candlesticks that are just kind of ranging within the zone. It's also going to be very important just to watch how this candlestick closes on the monthly as well too. When you do zoom in onto the weekly, you can be able to see that bearish momentum is actually kicking. And I could see pretty much so based on multiple candlesticks that are actually rejecting also this zone, this area right here, not to mention that this is also an extreme support level. Not support but resistance, but this area is all too very crucial level in resistance. So I saw initially from the rejection of these candlesticks that were actually going to drop from this resistance level. And now zooming on to daily, you can be able to see kind of what I'm talking about. So it's always important to kind of just like zoom out on a bigger time frame, see on areas where you'll find possible rejection. This area, as I mentioned probably before, was a very strong crucial zone that I actually marked out because previously there had been multiple occasions where price came in through, kind of maybe did a bit of a fake out and pushed back up, rejected, tapped into the zone, and then tapped again and then pushed straight up. So that's what I was saying is that like this zone could potentially be an area where we could actually drop. And even based on the range in candlesticks that I saw here, we played exactly the part. Nasdaq played exactly the part that I expected it to do, and we saw the bearish candlestick actually drop below. So now what we're going to be viewing with Nasdaq moving forward. There could be a possibility in price maybe tapping into the zone. So there could be two scenarios. So yeah, let's see price may tap into the zone. Top here and then drop going down. Or as you're seeing it right now, this is what I'm anticipating. Price may come in here or maybe just going in below here. Stepping into that zone and then dropping. So, but there could also be another possibility where you could see price actually push straight up to that level right here. This resistance level up top here. So we're gonna have to just kind of wait and see how this plays out. I think today I won't be taking any trades. There's also fundamental reasons to that because it is a US bank holiday today. So I will not be expecting, or you won't be seeing much volatility within the markets on bank holidays as is because banks are closed. So those institutional moves that we always bank on during the sessions won't be available as is. So I will be setting this one out for today. But yeah, that is kind of NASDAQ in my analysis and see how it plays about. Now I took a trade on what should we call it? On US30. And this is on Friday. I actually regret taking this trade. This man could have actually just waited for Tuesday, for tomorrow. But yeah, anyway, I was expecting kind of like a continuation from this kind of injection right here where price was gonna come and push straight to the upside. But I did see that price came through and rejected and closed and stopped me out from this level here. Thought we were gonna actually continue pushing much higher, but yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, now as is, seeing that it's Monday, prices are continuing to the upside. So I am overall bullish on US30. Now that we've finally seen that pullback, I remember I did mention last week that this pullback was going to initially happen. But we did kind of just see a little bit of a fake out, and then this was an area that I was actually banking on actually seeing continuation to upside on Friday. But yeah, those candlestick closed below and then pushed straight up. So yeah, we are going to still see bullish momentum with US30. So US30 is going to continue to push up. I'm not sure. This is not me on the weekly, so you guys can see. Yeah, everything is moving perfectly with US30. I am liking how the candlesticks are actually forming as is. On the monthly, everything's just actually kind of like looking bullish as is. Weekly, kind of same situation. You can be able to see kind of like the levels mapped out with the candlesticks also rejecting certain levels that are mapped out as is. Zoom in onto daily. Same situation, same outcome that I'm actually anticipating. So everything's moving really smooth. With US studies is that US study you really need to perfect your entries to the core, and the timing is always important. If you don't master your timing and making sure that US30 is caught within certain sessions that you probably do trade, well, for me personally, as is personal sessions that I do trade, you're not going to necessarily catch the right moves as well too with the indicator that actually maps out the levels as is based on the movements that you're going to carry. These levels actually do help in terms of actually just mapping out the rejection points, but there are indicators as well too that I do use that actually kind of play a massive role in just like perfecting my entries and seeing on a much smaller time frame how I can be able to maximize my opportunities and actually seeing higher possibilities of moving in the direction that I actually wanted to actually move in. So the rejection that I will be kind of maybe anticipating as is with US30 is possibly because when I do look at it on the bigger time frame on the daily, if this candlestick closes bullish, then we know very well that we are going to be pushing higher. But it also just depend on the closure of this candlestick. If this candlestick say closes bullish, then we're closing higher. If bearish, then we are possibly going to be dropping low to like maybe 48,765. So depending on the closure of this candlestick is going to be very, very, very crucial in determining the overall direction as is. So as I said, I will not be trading today because this is a bank holiday. We won't be seeing much volatility. But if this candlestick does give us exactly what we are anticipating, then I am going to be looking for buys on US30. So everything will just have to depend on this candlestick right here. So yeah, I think now we're gonna move on to BTC. So BTC, it's a very, 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 very interesting outcome that I experienced with BTC. Really, really interesting outcome that I experienced. So previously I did mention as is that we saw multiple rejections. I just want to actually let's zoom around to a weekly time frame so you guys can be able to see everything on a bigger scale. So obviously my levels are all mapped out but you are seeing that kind of the bearish momentum is actually kicking, but it's starting to slow down because now this tiny indecisive candlestick here is actually playing its part right now. So now what we need to actually kind of wait and see based on how this can play about is if we're going to actually push straight to the upside. So it's not monthly, you won't be able to see much. So weekly, as I explained, this candlestick on weekly, we'll have to see when it closes. See on the daily, as is, price has kind of like tapped into this resistant level here. This resistance level right here. We're seeing price come through and then kind of didn't reject, it slightly missed this level, but I will consider that as a rejection. So now we're gonna, as you are seeing it right now, I did mention that these little weak rejections around the zone here is creating a really strong resistance, and that's why I was anticipating a sell position, which I had taken on Monday. So zoom in on to Monday. This is my initial sell position. I was actually looking for like a 1 to 6 ratio. So for price to actually drop through and then maybe just tap in and then kind of reject the zone and actually hit my TP. But price is actually creating a little channel, which I only saw on Friday. And this was after the CPI news actually came out. So I was like, oh, okay. I placed my stop loss, I think, just around this level. So I was already in profit. I had 2 positions actually placed in around there, and my position was actually, my stop loss was placed around this level here because I knew based on me mapping out this channel here, and I'll actually show you why I thought about this as is for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, and so I'm saying is that I literally kind of saw this. As soon as this candlestick closed above that, I already knew that we're going to be pushing much more higher. CPI news actually came out very good. So the data came out weak. So I saw this gain strength as is on this candlestick here, which was around like 2 o'clock. And I got my stop loss got tagged in. Been holding this trade, I think, for like 4 days, as it's just waiting, watching candlesticks actually form. And I pretty much figured that it was creating a channel as this and pushed up. So now, as we are viewing things now, we are seeing that this level right here is a very crucial zone. It's very, I wouldn't say it's as important, but it's kind of very much so valid enough to take into consideration. But I will not be deciding on anything as is for now, because reason being is because I need to see some kind of movement, right? And if this movement decides to break above this resistant level, pushing much higher, and I see a retest around the zone, we are going to significantly actually push much higher. And I'm anticipating that we could possibly maybe be approaching 80K, 85, around about 85K as it's so around this level, yeah, as I'm seeing it. But we'll have to kind of just wait and see and how that plays about. Obviously, now that we are looking at a much higher time frame, you see that this trend line has kind of just been rejected as is. So we could possibly maybe see a bit of like ranging within the zone. Could be very choppy for now, just to actually build up a bit of like momentum to actually show that buyers are actually kicking in. Or either or, this trend line could be shattered through. But based on how I'm seeing on just doing the top-down analysis, I think that we are going to kind of do a little bit of slight pullback, pushing up to this level right here, and then quite a massive drop as is. So we have to see. So it's either this on this level, 70, like 70K around here. If we break above that, then we're going to go much higher to this level right here, which is 86K. So those are kind of the 2 levels that I'll be looking at For now I will not be trading. Um, I won't be trading BTC. I'm keeping an eye on it. I think the only trade that I'll potentially take is only for US30. But other than that, I think for now, looking at how things are playing out, I will be waiting on that. Then now gold. Gold has not moved much. As I am seeing, we have not seen a lot of movement with gold. So gold has been a little bit just like sluggish. So ever since like Monday, yeah, since Monday it's been ranging. There's a slight drop, and so it hasn't been. You haven't seen much volatility with gold. I'm gonna zoom out onto the bigger time frames so that you guys can see. As you can see, um, there are bullish candlesticks that gold's been bullish for quite some time. And then now when we look into the weekly, we are seeing that it's a little slight rejection on this area. This area is turning out to be a very strong resistant level, which is kind of crucial to take into consideration as well. Now that this candlestick is like also struggling to really form, because we did see this candlestick move last week, but wasn't much bullish momentum to actually push this a lot much more higher. So as we are looking at it on the daily, I'm still kind of expecting that we will get an overall push higher. Not sure when. This week is also very big in terms of volatility. We are seeing a lot of news come in. So yeah, I think with gold, a little bit indecisive as is on how things are going to play out. It hasn't given me like really solid like structure and moves as well too. What I'm seeing is this level right here is very crucial to take in consideration, and as well to this zone here. So I am possibly just going to be waiting out and seeing what can really play out with the overall outcome on gold. So I will not be taking any trades on gold. And next week, or next week maybe, if we do see something solid, then we'll probably take that as is. But for now, gold is not moving the best. It's not giving me any momentum. So yeah, I'm gonna be waiting this out and seeing on what we could possibly expect for gold. Now, when we look at fundamentals, as I did mention, Monday is bank holiday. Tuesday is we're not seeing anything on Tuesday. Wednesday there's FOMC meeting minutes as well too. Thursday there is unemployment claims. Friday there's advanced GDP and core CPE price index as well. And then flash manufacturing PMI, and so this is PMI as well too on Friday. So Friday is a very volatile week to see. I mean, volatile day actually, not week. But this week is actually quite volatile. I'm thinking in terms of could be possibly volatile in terms of like just fundamental news coming out. Now, when we go back to last week, if we do see kind of just the NFP data came out positive, CPI came out weak, so we are gonna possibly see some kind of like really bullish momentum kick in with indices, and possibly a weaker dollar. Looking at how the outcome could actually play out with what we just analyzed technically. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it, I'm guessing. Do follow us on TikTok. Do follow us on Instagram. I'll be in the details in the description below on this video. And yeah, if this video was helpful for you, please do follow, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.